Hey warriors, there's a moment before dawn when the world is still asleep. The air is quiet and the day hasn't yet demanded your attention. In that fragile stillness, everything feels possible. A blank canvas waiting for your first brushstroke. Most people rush through life without noticing these moments. They wake, scroll, react, forgetting that each sunrise is a chance to begin again. But you're different. Something inside you is stirring. You're ready to break old patterns, to reclaim your focus, your energy, your peace. Transformation doesn't require monumental change. It begins with small, deliberate actions, ordinary steps taken with extraordinary intention. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is your power." The way you start your day, the choices you make, the habits you form, they all shape your life. Over the next 7 days, we'll explore 5 simple habits that can change your energy, your clarity, and your focus. They'll help you stand firm when life shakes, calm your mind when emotions rise, and awaken a quiet strength you may have forgotten. Epictetus reminds us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom begins within, with discipline, awareness, and intention. These habits are your first steps toward mastery. So give this video your full attention. Don't scroll, don't multitask. Absorb each idea, each habit, and let it guide you toward transformation. If you're ready, take a deep breath. And let's begin with the first habit, the one that rewires your mornings, your mindset, and your momentum. Before we begin, claim your commitment. Type in the comments, "I rise, I focus, and I begin each day with purpose." Number 1, wake up at dawn and own the morning. The sun doesn't negotiate with the horizon, it rises every single day, without excuse, without hesitation. And in that simple, consistent act, there's a lesson that could change everything. The Stoics were dawn people, not because they romanticized sunrise, but because they understood something fundamental about human nature. The morning is when your willpower is strongest, when your mind is clearest, when the world is quiet enough to hear yourself think. Marcus Aurelius would begin his day before Rome stirred, preparing his mind for the chaos ahead. He knew that whoever wins the morning wins the day. But here's what most people don't tell you about waking up early. It's not really about the time, it's about the intentionality. It's about deciding that you get to dictate the terms of your day, rather than letting your day dictate them to you. When you hit snooze, you're not just delaying an alarm. You're making a statement. You're saying, "I choose comfort over commitment. I choose ease over evolution." And listen, I get it. Your bed is warm. The world is cold. 5 more minutes won't hurt, right? Except those 5 minutes become 10. 10 becomes 20. And suddenly you're rushing, skipping breakfast, forgetting something, starting your day in a state of reaction instead of intention. You've surrendered your power before you even stood up. Seneca wrote about the preciousness of time. He said we act as if we're going to live forever, wasting hours like we have an infinite supply. But we don't. Every morning you sleep through is a morning you'll never get back. Not to scare you, to wake you up. Literally. Here's what this habit actually looks like. Set your alarm for dawn, or 30 minutes before you normally wake up if dawn feels too extreme right now. When it goes off, and this is crucial, count down from 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then move. Don't think, don't negotiate. Move your body out of that bed, because in that 5-second window, you're more powerful than every excuse your mind is about to generate. Once you're up, don't immediately grab your phone. Don't scroll. Don't check emails. Don't let someone else's emergency become your morning. Instead, drink water. Stretch your body. Look out a window, take 3 deep breaths. Remind yourself, I am here, I am alive, I have today. The first hour of your day sets the tone for the next 23. If you start rushed, you'll stay rushed. If you start anxious, you'll carry that anxiety. But if you start with intention, with presence, with a quiet moment of gratitude for another day, everything shifts. You become the author of your experience instead of a character reacting to everyone else's story. And here's the beautiful part. After just 3 days of this, your body adapts. You start waking up naturally. Your mind becomes sharper. You notice you have time, actual time. Time to think, to plan, to do something for yourself before the world asks anything of you. It feels like freedom because it is freedom. Think about the people you admire, the ones who seem to have their lives together, the ones who create, who build, who lead. Almost all of them guard their mornings. They understand that you can't serve from an empty cup. You can't give your best to the world if you haven't first given something to yourself. This isn't about becoming a productivity machine. It's about honoring yourself, about saying, I matter enough to wake up for. My dreams matter enough to give them the best part of my day, not the leftover scraps of energy at night when I'm exhausted. The Stoics practiced what they called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Each morning, they'd mentally prepare for the challenges ahead, not to be pessimistic, but to be ready, to not be surprised by difficulty. When you own your morning, you create space for this kind of mental preparation. You armor yourself, not with denial, but with acceptance and readiness. 1 week, that's all I'm asking. 7 mornings where you rise with the sun, where you choose discipline over comfort, where you prove to yourself that you're stronger than your circumstances, and watch what happens. Watch how your confidence grows. Watch how problems that seemed massive at night feel manageable in the morning light. Watch how you start to trust yourself again, because that's what this is really about. Trust. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, even a small one like waking up on time, you rebuild that trust. You become someone you can rely on. And that changes everything. The sun doesn't wait. Neither should you. Declare it right now. I own my mornings, and I own my life. Number 2, 30 minutes of daily reflection. There's a version of you that exists beneath all the noise, beneath the notifications, the obligations, the endless mental chatter about what you should be doing, could be doing, might be doing. That version, it's wise, it's clear, it knows exactly what matters, but you haven't heard from it in a while, have you? The Stoics had a practice they considered non-negotiable. Every evening they would sit in stillness and review their day, not to judge themselves harshly, not to drown in regret, but to learn, to extract wisdom from experience. Seneca would ask himself 3 questions each night. What bad habit have I cured today? What vice have I resisted? In what way am I better? Notice he didn't ask, what did I accomplish? How much money did I make? How many people liked my posts? He asked about character, about growth, about becoming more fully human. Because the Stoics understood something we've forgotten in our achievement-obsessed culture. Success without self-knowledge is just noise. Wealth without wisdom is just weight. Here's what 30 minutes of daily reflection actually does. It creates a gap between experience and reaction. It gives you space to process instead of just consume. Most of us move through life like we're binge-watching a series. One episode after another, no pause, no processing, just on to the next thing. Then we wonder why we feel disconnected, why nothing seems to stick, why we can't remember what we did last Tuesday. Reflection is how you metabolize your life. It's how raw experience becomes wisdom. Without it, you're just collecting moments without meaning. You're living, but you're not learning. So how do you actually do this? First, find your time. Morning works for some people, evening works for others. The Stoics preferred evening because the day was complete. You could review it in full, but choose what works for your life. Consistency matters more than timing. Then, create a space. It doesn't have to be perfect, just quiet. No phone, no music with lyrics. Maybe a candle, maybe just natural light. The environment matters because it signals to your brain, this time is different, this time is sacred. Now, here's the practice. You can journal, you can simply sit and think, you can pray if that's your path. The method matters less than the questions you ask. Try these. What challenged me today? How did I respond? Was that response aligned with who I want to be? What did I learn? What am I grateful for? What would I do differently if I could? Marcus Aurelius kept a journal we now call Meditations, but he never intended anyone to read it. It was his private conversation with himself, his way of processing power, loss, responsibility, mortality. He was literally the most powerful man in the world, and yet he took time every day to check himself, to remember his values, to stay grounded in what mattered. If an emperor with an empire to run could find 30 minutes for reflection, you can too. Not because you have more time, but because you'll make the time for what you value. And this should be valuable to you. Your inner life should matter more than your inbox. Here's what happens in week 1. The first few days feel awkward. Your mind will resist. It'll tell you this is boring, that you have better things to do. That's normal. You're building a new muscle. But push through, because around day 4 or 5, something shifts. The reflection gets easier, deeper. You start noticing patterns. You see where you're reactive, where you're avoiding, where you're growing. You start to catch yourself during the day. Before you snap at someone, a voice whispers, "Is this who you want to be?" Before you waste an hour scrolling, something reminds you, you said you wanted to write, to read, to create. That voice, it's always been there. Reflection just turns up the volume. The practice also creates accountability, but the good kind. Not shame-based, not punishment, just honest assessment. You become your own wise mentor. The Stoics called this your inner demon, a guiding spirit that knows your potential and won't let you settle for less. And here's the profound part. When you regularly reflect, life stops happening to you and starts happening for you. Obstacles become teachers. Failures become feedback. Pain becomes the tuition fee for wisdom. Nothing is wasted. Everything has purpose. Not because the universe is specially arranging things for you, but because you've developed the eyes to see the lesson in everything. Epictetus taught that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We should listen twice as much as we speak. But I'd add this. We also need to listen to ourselves, to our own inner wisdom. Reflection is that listening. It's how you hear what your life is trying to teach you. 30 minutes, 1 week. That's the commitment. Sit with yourself. No distractions, no escape. Just you and your thoughts, and the quiet recognition that you're worth this time, that your growth matters, that becoming who you're meant to be is the most important work you'll ever do. Pause for a second. If you're brave enough to face yourself honestly, write, "I make time to know myself deeply." Number 3, movement. Sweat daily. Your body is not a machine you operate. It's not a vehicle you're stuck driving. It's you, completely, undeniably you. And right now, it's trying to tell you something. The tension in your shoulders, the heaviness in your chest, the restlessness you can't name. That's not weakness. That's energy trapped inside, begging for release. The Stoics didn't separate mind from body. They understood what modern science is only now confirming. You cannot have a strong mind in a neglected body. Marcus Aurelius practiced wrestling and boxing, not for vanity, not for competition, but because physical struggle taught him about mental resilience. Every drop of sweat was a lesson in endurance. Every burning muscle was a reminder, I am stronger than I think. Seneca, despite chronic illness, would take long walks and cold baths. He wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." He knew that physical discomfort trained you to handle life's inevitable hardships. That when you voluntarily choose challenge in your body, you build capacity to face challenge in your life. But here's what we need to address honestly. Most of us have a complicated relationship with movement. We've turned it into punishment, into something we should do, into a way to fix what's wrong with us. We've made it about aesthetics and Instagram and before and after photos. We've stripped all the joy and meaning from it. No wonder we avoid it. Let me reframe this completely. Movement is not about changing how you look. It's about remembering what you're capable of. It's about feeling alive in your own skin. It's about processing emotions that live in your body, not just your mind. Anxiety, anger, grief, frustration, these aren't just thoughts. They're physical, and they need physical release. When you move your body, when you actually sweat, something chemical happens. Endorphins flood your system, cortisol drops, your brain literally changes, but something spiritual happens too. You reconnect, you come home to yourself. You remember, I am not just a thinking thing. I am a living, breathing, moving creature. I am alive. Here's what this habit looks like in practice. 30 minutes, every day, of movement that makes you sweat. Not a gentle stroll, not stretching on your couch. Real movement, running, dancing, lifting weights, swimming, biking, jumping rope. Yoga that challenges you. Anything that raises your heart rate and reminds your body it was built for more than sitting. And I know what you're thinking. I don't have time. I'm not athletic. I'm too tired. I'm too out of shape to start. Every single one of those thoughts is your fear talking, not truth. Fear. Fear that you'll fail. Fear that you'll look foolish. Fear that it'll be hard. And you're right. It will be hard, especially at first. But here's the secret the Stoics knew. Hard is where growth lives. Comfort is where dreams go to die. When you choose the difficulty of exercise over the difficulty of regret, you're choosing yourself. You're saying, I am worth the effort. My health is worth protecting. My life is worth living fully. Start small if you need to. 10 minutes, 15, but do it every single day. Consistency builds the habit. Consistency rewrites your identity. You stop being someone who should work out and become someone who does. That shift, that's everything. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort. They'd sleep on hard floors, skip meals, expose themselves to cold. Not to be extreme, but to prove to themselves, I can handle more than I think. Your daily movement is that proof. Every time you push through when your mind says stop, you're building evidence. Evidence that you're disciplined, that you're committed, that you're someone who keeps promises to themselves. And let's talk about what happens mentally. You know that fog that sits on your brain, that heaviness, that sense of being stuck. Movement clears it, like wind clearing smoke. After you sweat, problems that seemed impossible suddenly have solutions. Decisions that felt overwhelming become clear. It's not magic, it's biology. Blood flow to the brain, oxygen, release of neurochemicals that literally make you feel better. Within 3 days of daily movement, you'll sleep better. Within 5, you'll notice your mood stabilizing. Within 7, you'll feel something you haven't felt in a long time. Pride. Real pride. Not the ego kind, the quiet kind. The kind that comes from knowing you showed up for yourself when it mattered. There's a reason warriors, athletes, and philosophers have always understood the importance of physical discipline, because the body teaches what the mind forgets, that you're resilient, that discomfort is temporary, that you're capable of far more than you believe. Every workout is evidence. Every drop of sweat is proof. Your body is the only place you have to live. Treat it like the sacred temple it is, not with punishment, but with respect, not with shame, but with gratitude, not someday, but today, right now, this moment. Move, sweat. Remember what it feels like to be fully, completely, powerfully alive. The Stoics knew that a life well lived requires a body well used, not perfected, not Instagram ready, just strong enough to carry you through your purpose, healthy enough to support your dreams, vital enough to feel joy. That's what this habit gives you, not a different body, a reclaimed life. Your body is listening. Tell it what you're about to do. Comment, "My body is strong, and I honor it with movement." Number 4, digital detox for 2 to 3 hours. There's a thief in your pocket, silent, sophisticated, stealing something more precious than money. It's taking your attention, your presence, your ability to think deeply, feel fully, be here now. And the worst part, you invited it in. You check it first thing in the morning, last thing at night, hundreds of times in between. You know what I'm talking about. Your phone. The Stoics lived in a different world, but they faced the same battle. Distraction. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present, not because the present is always pleasant, but because it's the only place where life actually happens, the only place where you have power, the only place where you're real." But we don't live in the present anymore, do we? We live in our screens, in other people's highlight reels, in comment sections and news feeds and endless streams of content designed, literally engineered, to hijack our attention. Silicon Valley didn't accidentally make these apps addictive. They hired neuroscientists. They studied gambling mechanics. They built digital slot machines that pay out in likes and notifications, and that little dopamine hit that keeps you scrolling. And it's working. The average person touches their phone 2,600 times a day, checks it every 10 minutes, spends over 4 hours staring at a screen. 4 hours. That's a quarter of your waking life, given freely to algorithms that don't care about you, your dreams, your relationships, or your peace of mind. They care about engagement, about keeping your eyes on ads, about turning your attention into profit. But here's what they can't take unless you give it. Your choice. You still have that. Right now, in this moment, you can decide, enough. I am reclaiming my attention. I am taking back my life. This habit is simple but not easy. 2 to 3 hours every day, completely disconnected. Phone off, or better yet, in another room. No social media, no email, no news, no screens of any kind. Just you, present, available, alive to what's actually in front of you, and I already hear the resistance. But what if someone needs me? What if I miss something important? What if there's an emergency? Here's the truth. For thousands of years, humans survived without instant connectivity. Your grandmother didn't have a smartphone. She was fine. You will be fine. Better than fine. You'll be free. Epictetus taught his students to distinguish between what's in their control and what's not. You cannot control what happens in the world. You cannot control what people post, what news breaks, what crisis unfolds. But you absolutely control where you place your attention. And right now, you're giving it away, volunteering it, surrendering it to forces that do not have your best interest at heart. Here's how to implement this. Choose your window. Maybe it's 6 to 9 in the evening. Maybe it's Saturday mornings. Maybe it's the first hour after you wake up and the last hour before bed. Choose what works, but choose deliberately. Then protect it, fiercely, like your life depends on it. because in many ways, it does. During these hours, rediscover what it means to be human. Read a physical book, have a face-to-face conversation, cook a meal with your hands, sit in silence, draw, write in a journal, take a walk without headphones, look at the sky, notice the details of your actual life, not the curated versions of other people's lives. The first day will feel weird. Your hand will reach for your phone automatically. You'll feel phantom vibrations. You'll experience something close to withdrawal because that's literally what it is. You're detoxing from an addiction, but don't quit. Breathe through it. Notice the discomfort without obeying it. The Stoics called this voluntary hardship, choosing difficulty now to build strength for later. By day 3, something remarkable happens. Your mind starts to clear. You notice you're calmer, less reactive, less anxious about things that don't actually matter. You realize how much of your stress was imported, how much of your discontent came from comparison, how much of your time was spent consuming instead of creating, watching instead of living. By day 7, you'll wonder how you ever lived any other way. You'll have finished that book you started months ago, had that conversation you've been putting off, made progress on the project that matters. Most importantly, you'll have been present, actually here, engaged with your real life instead of everyone else's digital performance. The Stoics believed in memento mori, remember you will die. Not to be morbid, but to be motivated. Your time is finite. Every minute scrolling is a minute you'll never get back. Every hour lost to digital noise is an hour not spent on what matters, on who matters, on becoming who you're meant to be. Think about your deathbed, seriously. Imagine yourself at the end of your life, looking back. Will you wish you'd spent more time on social media, more hours reading news that made you angry about things you couldn't change? Or will you wish you'd been more present, more connected to real people, more engaged with real life? You already know the answer. Now act like it. 2 to 3 hours, every single day, disconnected from the digital, reconnected to the real, to yourself, to what matters. This isn't about rejecting technology. It's about remembering that you're the master, not the servant, that your attention is yours to give, not theirs to take. Number 5, evening preparation. Plan tomorrow tonight. There's a war that happens every morning. You wake up and immediately the battlefield opens. What needs to be done? Where do I start? What's urgent? What's important? Your mind scrambles, your energy scatters. And before you've even had coffee, you're already behind, already reactive, already losing. But what if the war was already won before you opened your eyes? What if you woke up knowing exactly what mattered? What if your day had direction before chaos tried to steal it? The Stoics understood this. They knew that preparation is power, that the evening holds the key to tomorrow's victory. Seneca wrote to his friend Lucilius, "The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately." But living immediately doesn't mean living randomly. It means being so prepared, so clear, so intentional, that when the moment arrives, you're ready. You don't waste it deciding, you spend it doing. Think about a general before battle. Does he wake up and figure out strategy while arrows are flying? Nah. He plans at night. When it's quiet, when he can think clearly, when there's space to consider options, anticipate obstacles, position resources. By the time battle comes, he's not making it up as he goes. He's executing a plan. That's the difference between victory and chaos. Your life deserves the same respect. Every evening, before you sleep, take 15 to 20 minutes to prepare tomorrow. Not just a to-do list, a real plan, an intention, a commitment to yourself about who you're going to be and what you're going to accomplish when the sun rises. Here's how this works. Grab a notebook or open a simple document. Start by asking yourself, what are the 3 most important things I need to do tomorrow? Not 10 things, not 20, 3. Because when everything is a priority, nothing is. The Stoics called this the discipline of focus, knowing what deserves your attention and what's just noise disguised as urgency. Write those 3 things down. Be specific. Not work on project, but write the introduction section for 2 hours. Not exercise, but run 3 miles at dawn. Not call mom, but call mom at 6 p.m. and really listen. Specificity removes ambiguity. Ambiguity is where procrastination lives. Next, identify potential obstacles. Marcus Aurelius practiced this every morning, but you can do it the night before. Ask yourself, what might try to stop me tomorrow? What distractions? What excuses? What unexpected challenges? Maybe it's oversleeping. Maybe it's a coworker who talks too much. Maybe it's your own fear of starting something difficult. Name it. Write it down. Then, and this is crucial, plan your response. If I'm tempted to skip my morning routine, I'll remember why I started. I'll count down from 5 and move. If my coworker interrupts, I'll politely say I'm in deep work mode and suggest we connect at lunch. If fear shows up, I'll acknowledge it and do the thing anyway. The Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, negative visualization. You're not being pessimistic, you're being prepared. Now, lay out your environment. If you're waking up to exercise, set out your clothes. Put your shoes by the door. Fill your water bottle. Remove friction. Make the right choice, the easy choice. If you're working on a creative project, close all unnecessary tabs on your computer before bed. Leave your workspace clean and inviting. Your future self will thank you. Here's what most people miss. Planning isn't just about tasks, it's about energy. Ask yourself, when am I sharpest tomorrow? When am I most creative? When do I usually hit a slump? Then assign your tasks accordingly. Do your hardest, most important work when you're strongest. Save emails and administrative stuff for when your energy naturally dips. Work with your rhythm, not against it. Epictetus taught that we should focus only on what's within our control. Tomorrow you cannot control traffic, other people's moods, unexpected problems, or 1,000 other variables. But you can control your preparation. You can control your intention. You can control how you respond when things don't go according to plan. And that control, that's everything. There's something deeply calming about ending your day this way, about closing the loop, about saying, today is complete, tomorrow is prepared. I can rest now. Sleep becomes easier, deeper, because your mind isn't churning through what needs to happen. You've already decided, you've already planned, the work is done. Within 3 days of this practice, you'll notice something. Your mornings feel different, calmer, more purposeful. You're not reacting, you're executing. You're not wondering what to do. You're doing what you already decided mattered. That shift, that's the difference between drifting through life and directing it. By day 7, you'll have momentum. Real momentum. Not the frantic kind that burns out, but the steady kind that compounds. Each evening, you prepare. Each morning, you execute. Each day builds on the last. This is how people accomplish things that seem impossible, not through bursts of motivation, but through consistent, prepared action. The Stoics believed in living with intention, in being deliberate architects of their days, not passive recipients of whatever happened. This habit is your blueprint, your way of saying, I will not let tomorrow happen to me. I will meet it prepared, focused, and clear about what matters. Think about the people who achieve their dreams, the writers who finish books, the entrepreneurs who build businesses, the athletes who reach their goals. They don't just work harder, they plan smarter. They know that 5 minutes of evening preparation saves hours of morning confusion. They respect their time enough to direct it intentionally. This isn't about becoming rigid or robotic. Life will still surprise you. Plans will still change. But when you have a foundation, when you know what you're aiming for, you can adapt without losing yourself. You can be flexible without being aimless. You can handle the unexpected because you've prepared for what's in your control. So tonight, before you sleep, take those 15 minutes. Plan your 3 priorities. Anticipate obstacles. Prepare your environment. Set yourself up for success. Do this for 7 nights and watch what happens to your days. Watch how your life starts to feel less like chaos and more like choice, less like reaction and more like creation. Seneca said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Tomorrow will bring opportunity. The question is, will you be prepared?" Tonight, before you sleep, come back here and post, "I prepare tonight, I execute tomorrow, I win every day." So here we are, 5 habits, 7 days, 1 choice. You could close this video and go back to scrolling, back to the same patterns, same complaints, same feeling that something's missing. That's easy, that's familiar. Or you could do something different, something courageous. You could actually try. The Stoics didn't write philosophy for libraries. They wrote it for life, for real people facing real struggles, for moments exactly like this one when you're tired of who you've been and ready to become who you're meant to be. They knew that wisdom without action is just entertainment, that inspiration without implementation is just noise. These 5 habits, waking at dawn, daily reflection, movement, digital detox, and evening preparation, they're not complicated, but they are transformative, not because they're magic, but because they're consistent, because they compound, because tiny changes, done daily, don't stay tiny. They grow, they multiply, they reshape your entire life from the inside out. 1 week, that's all I'm asking. 7 days of commitment to yourself. 7 days of choosing discipline over distraction. 7 days of proving that you're capable of more than you think. And if after 7 days you don't feel different, if you don't notice a shift in your energy, your clarity, your sense of purpose, then go back. No judgment. But I don't think you will, because once you taste what it feels like to be truly present in your own life, you can't go back to sleepwalking. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This is your power, these habits, this moment, this choice. So do this for me. Hit that like button. Drop a comment with the habit you're committing to first. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to this channel because we're just getting started. And most importantly, start. Today. Right now, not tomorrow. Not when conditions are perfect. Now. Your life is waiting. Go meet it. This is where excuses die and action begins. Seal your promise below. I am done waiting. I am ready. I start now.